Hello, my name is Tim Brown. I'm the Director of Environmental Services for St. Tammany Parish. I'd like to talk to you about the proposed on-site sewer inspection ordinance that the Parish Council is currently considering. To date, we've had 2 public meetings on this ordinance. We had one in Slidell and we had one over here at Coop Drive. And this ordinance will also be presented at the November 2nd council meeting. This ordinance was born out of the undertreated wastewater task force. And just to give you some background on that task force, in March of 2022, Parish President Mike Cooper created this task force, and it brought together stakeholders from the state agencies, the Parish Council, the parish agencies, academia, environmental groups, and community groups. The proposed ordinance grew out of the task force discussions and acknowledged the need for better management of on-site systems. The goal of the ordinance is to bring heightened awareness to the public of the need for proper sewage treatment and highlight the need for responsible ownership and operation of these systems. By improving in these 2 areas, the parish will improve public health and the environmental conditions that currently impair quality of life and limits economic development. If you look at that slide, it may be a little bit difficult to see, but each of those red dots is an on-site sewer system. And in those red blocks, that's where the density is such that the dots have merged together just to create solid red. So we have approximately 35,000 on-site sewer systems in St. Tammany Parish. That's the breakdown by council district. And in terms of the existing conditions, currently St. Tammany Parish has about 265,000 people and 92,000 households. Approximately 35,000 of those households utilize on-site sewage treatment. We also have over 200 miles of impaired water bodies. Now, when I say impaired, I'm not talking about drainage. I'm talking about water quality, and that's as designated by the Department of Environmental Quality and the Environmental Protection Agency. The water bodies that are listed as impaired include Black River, the Tchefuncte River, Bogafalia, Bayou Cane, Bayou Lacombe, Bayou Paquet, Bayou Liberty, Bayou Bonfica, Grand Lagoon, the W14 Canal, and Salt Bayou. Almost every water body we have in the parish is currently listed as impaired by DEQ and EPA. The suspected causes for the impairment are directly associated with poor treatment from these on-site systems. Those include dissolved oxygen, fecal coliform, and enterococcus. This all creates the potential for DEQ to deny requests for future discharge permits. That would affect businesses and large developments. It could also affect small developments. I have some additional slides on that in the rest of my presentation. These on-site sewage discharges also create habitat for mosquito-transmitted disease. And Dr. Kevin Caluette with Mosquito Abatement will have a presentation that will go further into that. This is a list of the impaired water bodies in St. Tammany Parish. It's called the 303D list. 303D is in direct reference to the section that this list is in the Clean Water Act, and it's maintained by the EPA. Now, I know you can't see that, so this next slide is a little bit of a blow up of that. So the left-hand column, the first yellow left-hand column, at the top of that it says PCR. That stands for Primary Contact Recreation. So each of those yellow ends means that that section of water body is impaired and is not meeting the primary contact use designation. If you go all the way to the far right column, you can see what it's impaired for, the suspected cause of impairment. And you can see sewage discharges in unsewered area. on-site treatment systems, septic systems, and similar decentralized systems. So going back to that first column, you can see all of these river subsegments that are impaired for primary contact recreation due to these on-site systems. The second column there, the top of that column is labeled FWP, which is Fish and Wildlife Propagation. Essentially, the water bodies that have the yellow N are not meeting the criteria to properly propagate fish and wildlife. That's typically because of a dissolved oxygen concern. The primary contact recreation concern is typically a bacteriological concern, fecal coliform or enterococcus. This is just a visual representation of that table. From the Tchefuncte River, it says here from the headwaters to Highway 190, this river is listed as impaired. If you look at the bottom, suspected causes of source, fecal coliform sewage discharges in unsewered areas. I would note that this is in the northern part of the parish. This subsegment is in the northern part of the parish. It's impaired before it even gets to the more highly dense areas in the southern part of the parish. Likewise, the Bogafilaya River, the source of impairment, fecal coliform. Bayou Lacombe, source of impairment, fecal coliform, on-site sewage systems. This is the data collected from EPA and the Department of Environmental Quality. Bayou Liberty, fecal coliform. So what does all that mean? We know about the potential health hazards with these bacterial loads in our waterways. We understand the consequence to fish and wildlife, but from an economic development standpoint, that brings us to this slide. This particular case, we had a small business along Highway 59 that was looking to get a discharge permit. They were only looking for 300 gallons per day, which is less than a single family household. Before they can get a building permit, they have to get an okay from the Department of Environmental Quality that they'll be able to get a discharge permit. In this case, the business owner sent off their request to DEQ to get that okay. It's called a request for preliminary determination. And DEQ replied back with this letter, and you can see I've blown some portions up there. The Tchefuncte River, essentially it's saying this does not meet its designated uses, is impaired, and the suspected cause is low dissolved oxygen. That middle section, it says the DEQ discharge permits may not be issued to a new source or new discharge in a subsegment which does not meet applicable water quality standards. And then in that bottom blow up, they really just kind of cut to the chase. They say, in general, DEQ does not intend to permit additional discharges of oxygen demanding loads. Well, any business that has a toilet is going to have an oxygen demanding load. So this is what all those impaired water bodies are leading to, where if we want to continue to have businesses develop in unsewered areas, they may not be able to get a discharge permit. Some of you may be familiar with the current on-site inspection program. That is based on electrical transfers and property transactions. My department currently does about 2,000 of these each year. The current inspection fee is $100, and before someone can have the electrical service transferred into someone else's name, they have to have the permit from Environmental Services. The most common reasons for failure is that the system needs to be pumped out, the aerator's not properly working, it's unpermitted through the state, or there's a structural issue that's causing it to not function properly. Approximately 47% of these that we go out on, about 50%, fail the initial inspection. The parish also currently offers financial assistance for people who need to either repair or replace their systems. for people who qualify. The proposed program is going to build off of the current program, but eventually will take its place. It will no longer address or be associated with the electrical transfers. The proposed program, residents that currently connected to a community sewage system are not subject to this proposed ordinance. Residents in unincorporated St. Tammany Parish will have to have their on-site system inspected every 3 years, and the inspection fee will remain at $100. Systems that pass will be issued a certificate of compliance that is valid for 3 years. Systems will be inspected to confirm that they are functioning sewage treatment systems. That's what we'll be looking at. We won't be taking samples. We won't be looking to see if there are any kind of paperwork issues with the system. We'll simply be going out to make sure that there's a functioning sewage treatment system on the property. The most common expected reasons for failure would be that it needs to be pumped out. That's a routine maintenance item. That the aerator is working. Again, that's a routine maintenance item. And if there are any kind of structural issues that are preventing it from functioning properly. Now, there will be exemptions to this program. Systems that are operating in a manner that results in no off-site and no off-site discharge of wastewater effluent, i.e. the disposal is realized within the boundaries of the property, they will be exempt. The initial inspection will be required to confirm no off-site discharge. Examples of the exemptions are spray irrigation, overland flow, and absorption trenches. Here are some examples of things that would qualify for that exemption. Here you have a conventional septic tank. The wastewater flows from the house to the tank and then goes into the drain field, and there is no off-site discharge. This would be exempted under this proposed ordinance. And this is a great method of treatment. Again, another example, here you've got an aerated treatment unit, an ATU. These come in all different configurations, but the critical thing here is the spray heads. This is spray irrigation. You have no off-site discharge, and this system would be exempt under the proposed ordinance. Enforcement of the proposed ordinance, these enforcement provisions are already on the books. This is not anything new, and we seldom have ever, if ever, utilized these. The goal is not to penalize people. The goal is to work with people and try to improve the water quality in St. Tammany Parish. We're going to go out of our way to try to work with people to bring them into compliance and help them. Homeowner education is a bigger component of this than is enforcement, because a lot of people don't know how to properly take care of their systems. Some community sewage versus on-site sewage ordinance cost comparisons. The average community sewer bill, according to the Louisiana Public Service Commission, the average bill in Louisiana is $28 a month. I think here in St. Tammany, that's probably pretty low, honestly. But that would come out to a 3-year total of a little over $1,000. If under the on-site sewer ordinance, if this passes and it's implemented, and you have no issues with your system, but it needs a pump out, your 3-year total is looking at about $550. So about half of what people who are on community sewage are paying in a 3-year period. Likewise, if you have an aerator, you need an aerator and a pump out, your 3-year total would be about $850, still less than what people are paying for community sewage. Now keep in mind that based on the system you have, some of these prices will vary. Some will be higher, some will be lower. These are just kind of averages. And then if you have to have a system replacement, those are running about $4,500 with the $100 certificate fee. You're looking at $4,600 over 3 years. And that brings us to financial assistance. I already mentioned that we provide assistance to low to moderate income folks for repairs and replacements. We're looking to expand that financial assistance package, and we're working with the Department of Environmental Quality to utilize their clean water state revolving funds. Essentially what would happen is the parish would take out a loan from the state, and we would pass that through to people and have a structured payment plans for people who don't qualify under the low to moderate income. Some of the state revolving loan funds will also be forgivable. So the parish, through our grants department and environmental services, are currently working with DEQ to structure this financial program. I will say that the DEQ is excited about it. They think that if we can get this done in St. Tammany Parish, that this could be used as a model statewide. This program also has been utilized in other states. This is an example of what they're doing up in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is using that state revolving fund for people to improve and upgrade their septic systems up there, and it's been used successfully up there. The expected outcomes from this program is to improve public health, reduce the incidence of contact with poorly treated wastewater, and reduce the habitat conducive to the mosquitoes that transmit West Nile virus. We expect to improve environmental health by improving the ambient water quality, by decreasing the oxygen demand within the water bodies, and decreasing the bacterial load in the water bodies. There's also the potential, if we achieve those things, the potential to reduce the amount of mosquito insecticides that mosquito abatement has to use. We expect to improve the regulatory environment by decreasing the likelihood of DEQ denying discharge permits. And one of the more critical things about the expected outcomes is to raise the awareness. It's the responsibility of the owners of these on-site systems to ensure the proper operation and maintenance of their systems. Now, we have had some case studies to show that this type of monitoring and inspection program works. This is a case study. This was a program that we utilized EPA grant funding for to pay for the inspections of 856 homes in the Ozone Woods subdivision. The program focused on homeowner education, but also required the correction of deficiencies. And we utilized HUD and CDBG grant funds to help those folks make those corrections. The results from that program, we did before and after sampling, not of the individual residents, but at these two locations indicated on the map. That location where the wastewater, where the ditch water was leaving the subdivision at BL3, we saw a 49% reduction in BOD, biochemical oxygen demand, or biological oxygen demand, excuse me, and an 18% reduction in fecal coliform. At that location over on the right-hand side, the east side of the subdivision, we saw a 65% reduction in BOD and a 36% reduction in fecal coliform. The state and the federal government are kind of watching what we do here in St. Tammany Parish and are encouraged by the actions that we're taking. Likewise, we've been contacted by other parishes to keep an eye on how this proposed ordinance progresses, because they too have the same problem. This is the contact information for me. You can contact me at that email there or that phone number if you have any questions. Again, my name is Tim Brown, and I'm the Director of Environmental Services. Thank you very much for your time.